Hey, this is Christian Gomez from the New American Magazine reporting to you, and here we have with us Alex Newman. So Alex, there's a story breaking that in California a young high school senior named Maddie Mueller has been discriminated by her high school for wearing a MAGA hat. What's going on here in the United States specifically with anti-Trump discrimination on the school campuses?
Yeah, and it's not even just anti-Trump discrimination. It's anti-Christian discrimination, anti-conservative discrimination. It's basically discrimination against anybody who disagrees with the kind of radical, progressive LGBT ideology, or really the religious humanist religion that they're trying to force on these children. And this has been going on for a long time. I think this is just the latest example that we see of this. But this is a nationwide problem. This isn't just isolated to California. And this, again, applies to all sorts of people, not even just Trump supporters. You can come to school with an LGBT hat, promoting homosexuality, promoting abortion, promoting any sort of thing you would like, unless it's Christian, unless it's conservative, unless it's pro-Constitution. And it got to the point where in California, they literally told school students that they could not come to school wearing American flag material. We wrote about this in the New American a few years ago. It's just incredible what's going on in these public schools. And nobody wants to talk about it, but we need to be talking about it.
So the sort of excuse that we hear from school administrators is that they want to foster an environment that's supposedly inclusive, that doesn't make other students feel discriminated in any way. And they'll say that a MAGA hat or an American flag makes certain students feel a certain way that they don't want to invoke in the public schools. Is that a legitimate reason or excuse to silence the free speech of conservative and Christian students in schools across the country?
It's absolutely not. And it's also a lie. If that was true, if that was really how they felt and what they were trying to accomplish, you have examples where students at schools were forced to sing songs praising dear leader Obama. Now that could make somebody uncomfortable, where the school is directing you to sing the praises of dear leader. That's the kind of stuff we see in dictatorships, and that kind of stuff should not be happening in schools. But the idea of a student expressing support for their president being controversial or fostering a negative environment is absolutely ludicrous. So, I think conservatives need to speak out about this. Conservatives need to be taking an active role in fighting this kind of stuff. And as we just pointed out in our new special report about education, if we don't start addressing this education issue head on, and I mean K through 12 all the way up to universities, if we don't start dealing with this, it is practically inevitable that America is going to lose its freedom. We're going to lose our Constitution. We're even going to lose our country. And the polls show this very clearly. We have Gallup polls now showing that the majority of young Americans, 18 through 29, support socialism, whereas just 45% believe in capitalism. If you project the lines outwards, we are going to lose it all if we don't start dealing with this education crisis. We can't even call this that happens anymore education. This is full-blown indoctrination. And if we don't make it stop, it's all over.
Absolutely. You brought up a really good point. Back in 2009, virtually after Barack Obama was inaugurated and won the election, of course, we saw in schools students chanting and singing the song, "Yes, we can, yes, we can," which was based off the slogan that was the official campaign slogan from Obama's first campaign for the presidency in 2008. And of course, MAGA is the official campaign slogan for President Trump's initial presidential run in 2016, Make America Great Again. So there certainly is a contradiction or a hypocrisy in the part of public schools and how they regard an Obama campaign logo or slogan and how they treat the Trump campaign slogan. Very interesting. So would you say that there is an agenda at work here with the public schools trying to push a certain political ideology on the students then?
I would say it's indisputable, Christian. There is no there's no debate. You cannot even have a discussion about this. It is incontrovertible. We have smoking gun proof that the government schools are trying to indoctrinate the children with a political ideology, with a worldview that is completely at odds with the Christian worldview, the biblical worldview that our nation was founded upon. And, again, this is not up for dispute. It is concrete. There's no discussion about it. And if people want evidence, I encourage people to get a copy of our special report on education. We blow the lid off this whole thing. We show what they're indoctrinating the children with. We show where this all came from. You know, John Dewey and Horace Mann, socialists, these utopians who wanted to use the government school system to fundamentally transform America, to quote our more recent dear leader. And again, we show where this is going too. You know, if we continue down this path, the United Nations has already developed global standards, a global curricula that they want in every school in the world that will teach the children to be good global citizens, to be good feminists, to believe in the ideology of sustainable development. And they brag that they're pushing this. You know, you have Education Secretary Arne Duncan under Obama openly bragging about his partnership with UNESCO to turn your children into green global citizens. He quoted a communist terrorist saying education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. They're not kidding about this. They're telling us what they're doing, and we ignore what they're telling us at our own peril.
So is this problem that we're seeing only contained with the public schools, or has this also manifested itself in religious schools, parochial schools, Catholic schools, other evangelical Christian schools as well?
Unfortunately, this virus is spreading to private schools, to Christian schools, to Catholic schools very quickly. And in fact, under this new education statute they passed, the Every Student Succeeds Act, Obama called it a Christmas miracle because it was delivered to him by a GOP Congress. Education Secretary Arne Duncan said he couldn't believe it. Their entire education agenda was enshrined in this statute. Under this legislation that was signed into law by Obama, they now have all these different funding streams available to private schools, Christian schools, parochial schools, etc., where they are bringing in Common Core by the back door. You know, half of Catholic dioceses have already accepted Common Core. They said they're going to put a Catholic spin on the nonsense. That's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, parents need to watch out. It's not enough anymore just to put your kid in a Catholic school or a Christian school and assume they're going to get an education. The federal government, through these different funding mechanisms, is now getting their claws into private schools all over the country. They're bringing in this quack methodology to teach reading called the Whole Word Method, mandated under Common Core. Talked to a teacher in a Christian school, can't mention specifics, but he explained to me that through these funding streams, they're now training the Christian school teachers in government programs to teach the government's ideology and curriculum, their quack reading methods. They're using the same tests now in many cases, same textbooks. So we have a crisis of monumental proportions, and if parents don't pay attention, again, it's all over.
Now, you mentioned, one final question here. Now, you mentioned the special issue report from the New American Magazine on education. So what is one possible alternative that parents can use, or should do, rather, to get their kids out of the public schools? Where should they go to? Any thoughts or suggestions?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different options. I would say homeschooling is probably one of the best things that parents could do for their children. You know, your kids are going to have a much better education. Even on the government's own tests, homeschoolers score on average in the 80th, 90th percentile. Way, way better educated than victims of government schools. For parents who want some help or some support, there's a lot of good Christian schools, private schools still out there. I happen to work with the FreedomProject Academy, actually an affiliate of the New American Magazine. We have a K through 12 online, fully accredited school based on kind of biblical Judeo-Christian values. And, you know, it's a great alternative. There's a lot of good alternatives out there. There's a lot of great homeschool resources there for moms and dads who need help. And, you know, there has never been a time in history where it's been so easy to take back our power as parents, to yank our children out of this system, and to start providing them with a good education. But it takes some sacrifice. You know, nobody's going to say that it's the easiest thing in the world to do. You might have to drive an older car, or you know, sacrifice a vacation here and there. Yeah, it'll take some sacrifice. But what's more important than your children? Come on.
Very good point. Well, you heard it from Alex Newman, everyone. Get a copy of the special issue of the New American Magazine, the special education report issue, and also consider looking at online schools such as the Freedom Project Academy and Freedom Project Education. Okay, well, until next time, thank you for joining us, Alex.